There was just so many things running through my mind as far as how am I going to raise this child? Am I capable of raising this child? Can I do it? Would I be able to have a career? And you know, when you're in the music industry, like I am, there's always questions as to whether you can balance the two, or if, you know, your career is done or your career is over, because you can't have a child and be in the industry at the same time. It's just virtually impossible. I just said no, because I know God's got me.
Cilla Raie, welcome.
Hiya.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure.
So excited to be here, yeah.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Cilla Raie. I'm a singer-songwriter from North London. I've been releasing music since the age of 14 professionally. My family is predominantly a Christian-based family, so I've grown up as a Christian. And yeah, I've just spent pretty much over a decade now in the music industry, putting out music, releasing, discovering myself as an artist, discovering myself as a mother, and just various different roles.
Yeah, a few hats.
Yes.
You mentioned having a Christian family,
Yes.
growing up as a Christian. It's different to me, so tell me what that's like. How was it for you? Did you find, you know, your music has always been shaped by your faith? Yeah. What's your journey been?
Yeah, so growing up in a Christian-based family, it's just always been about, you know, installing morals and values. That's where I get my core values from, especially from my mother, who is a very, very strong Christian woman, a woman who's been helping me along the way as far as just like finding, you know, myself, my morals and stuff. And then as time went on, becoming a teen, a young adult, you know, into my early 20s and stuff like that, kind of drifting away from, you know, I guess the sole purpose of my life, and just trying to find myself in various different ways, just trying to find who I am. And then rediscovering that later on a little bit, you know, a couple of years down the line, after I found myself in a dark space that I felt like I needed to come out of and just kind of find me. So yeah, so finding that full circle moment again as a Christian has been very, very fulfilling for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all empathise, or many of us can empathise with being a teenager, trying to find out who we are, what we're doing.
Right.
What was that time like for you? What sort of choices were you making? Yeah. How did you work that out?
Yeah, so around that time, it was just pretty much just trying to, you know, indulging in various different things, whether that's just socially, being out a lot more. Obviously, being in the music industry is a very interesting industry, a very, you know, not your regular sort of type of industry, and just being at various different events, meeting various different people, being involved with various different people. And throughout that time as well, just exploring different options when it comes to just my life and what I wanted to do, and the people I was attracting and being around, and just various different things that I felt like kind of pushed me into a path that I felt like wasn't fulfilling me as a human being. I just didn't feel like it was making me feel worthy. So around that time was a decision I made to kind of just sway away from that and really find myself, which has helped me become the artist I am today, which has helped me become the mother I've become today, which has helped me just become the human being I am today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I guess we'd love to know that experience you had when you came back to faith and kind of recommitted your life to that purpose. What was your experience of Jesus when you met him in that way?
Well, I specifically remember my mum constantly telling me, you need to go back to church, you need to go back to church. And she's not really usually pressed like that. But around that period of time, she just kept bringing it up more and more and more, which I felt like, slightly felt like a message from God, you know, slightly felt like something was just, you know, lingering as far as just the signs were there for me to reconnect. And at that point anyways, I just found myself being just unhappy. It was like I was fulfilling so many things. There was milestones I fulfilled in my career, as far as being able to just be in certain settings and being able to be, you know, going to award shows and just meeting all these amazing individuals who've had years of experience and just putting out music and, you know, having launch parties, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just like, I'm still not happy. I even graduated with a degree around that time with a bachelor's in PR. And then I went back and I did a master's degree. And I'm like, wait, I've got all these degrees. I don't feel happy. Why? I just couldn't understand where my emotions were going and why I just didn't feel pleased. So my mom was just constantly telling me, I think you need to go back to church. You need to go back to church. You need to find yourself again, because you can have all this success but not feel happy. And I think that was the place that I was at where I just wasn't feeling happy. And I started going back to church, and I had, I have a lot of mentors in church as well who would tell me, you know what, Priscilla, come down. It doesn't have to be a Sunday. Come down on a Saturday so we can sit and chat and talk about your life and talk about where you're going as far as just your spirituality and how you feel. How do you feel about God? Reading the Bible again was very important for me. And yeah, just that whole phase there really I just felt like just changed everything for me. Just my attitude towards life, my attitude towards just everything. And then that was when I was blessed with my son. So it just all kind of fell into place.
Yeah, and we keep mentioning this journey. Now, I know you became a mum, and you've been juggling the music, I guess family, probably church, and being a single mum. Can you share with us a bit of what that journey's been like and how it's going?
Oof. So it was a hard journey for me. Hard journey. You know, I want to be as transparent because I just want to make it clear that our lives are not perfect and we go through things. And when I first was pregnant with my son, I went through a very, very traumatic, dark period of time. You know, a time in your life which is meant to be the happiest time because you're bearing a child, you're going to bring forth a child into this world. For me, it was a little bit of the opposite. So it was a struggle to begin with. But again, because I'd found my faith before I got pregnant, I was able to get through that period of time because I knew that, you know what, no matter what, God has my back. And it's essentially, you know, when you're a single parent, you kind of question, how am I going to raise this child? How am I going to do it? You know, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't think anybody goes into a situation and wants to be a single parent, so to speak. I don't know. But for me, essentially, there was just so many things running through my mind as far as how am I going to raise this child? Am I capable of raising this child? Can I do it? Would I be able to have a career? And, you know, when you're in the music industry, like I am, there's always questions as to whether you can balance the two. Or it's, you know, your career's done or your career's over because you can't have a child and be in the industry at the same time. It's just virtually impossible. I just said no because I know God's got me. And because I kept that, so many milestones were getting hit year after year after year after having my child. So, and if anything, my son has like taught me so much. It's taught me just to be loving, patient, caring. The same things that God is trying to install in me or has installed in me, he's reinstalling it back again, times 10. And it's just reiterating. And I've managed to get through it and I've managed to get past it, but I only was able to get past it because of what I went through and the faith that I had that, no, I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to be a great parent and I'm going to be a good mom and I'm going to have my career. I'm going to have everything because this is what God wants for me. So I'm going to run with it.
That's amazing. And I think also it's worth saying, I'm not a mum, but I know a lot of mums and I'm sure many will appreciate your transparency. I know a lot of mums that it hasn't all been bliss and joy when they get pregnant and have a child. It can be really tough. So I think being authentic, props to you. It's great to hear your story. And speaking of women, have you found it with the music industry, maybe with church and maybe, to be honest, being a mum, tricky or any pressure to be a role model for younger females?
I wouldn't say I actually appreciate it. I actually love it. I appreciate it because of the things that I've experienced, not only as a mum, but also being in the industry as a woman, and the struggles I've faced and numerous other women in the industry have faced as far as just the level of equality. I actually really love being able to go out there and speak to other women and just have that influence. There's so much work that I did last year as far as seminars and panels with women in the industry and just discussing, you know, the various different issues that we face. And it's actually really refreshing to me watching women come together, watching women support each other, because that's what I'm all about. I want to be able to support other women. I'm a girl's girl, so I'm all about supporting the women. So I I don't have an issue being a role model, because at the end of the day, it's all about the message. What is the message? And my message is about positivity, uplifting, trusting yourself and trusting God, trusting your intuition and knowing that you can be who you want to be as long as you have God in your life and you have that faith. So, yeah, I love it.
I love that. That's good. As a woman, I appreciate it. So with your music being uplifting, but not necessarily overtly listing out and spreading the gospel,
Right.
how do you as a person share your faith?
Oh, just through discussion, being able to have a platform. So even with social media, I am positive. I want to stay positive. I spread positive messages. When I put up, the little, captions and the memes and stuff, it's all positivity. When I'm in seminars, when I'm in panels, it's all about just, again, the key message is just staying positive and staying uplifting, because we're living in times it's difficult for everyone and there's a lot of emotions up and down. There's so much going on, and I think if you could just be that vessel of light, to be a kind, caring, empathetic person, you make a difference.
Yeah, no.
Even if it's from afar and they're hearing you speak, or if you're speaking to them direct one-to-one, just make a difference in someone's life by being positive. Whether that's spreading a positive message, whether that's just complimenting them, just something that's positive. The smallest things make the biggest difference.
Yeah, and although there's so much that we can say is wrong with social media and online, there are platforms we have that we've never had before where you can reach someone from afar, and what a privilege.
Right.
It's amazing. Well, that's all we have time for today, but thank you so much, Cilla Raie, for joining us and for being so authentic and sharing your story so honestly, and I wish you all the success.
Thank you for having me.